Last time on Why Can't We Be Wizards? Pretty quickly, the train that has now pulled out of the station leaves London entirely.
I think it might be easier to ask when I'm not placing my face against the window.
Caleb gets up, upset, and he's gonna go over to that other guy and grab his wand back.
I'm the Trolley Witch.
Trolley Witch. So Trolley's the first name, Witch is the last. I like it.
Do you want my chocolate? I just kind of want the card.
We're gonna go put our school robes on. You guys should probably do the same thing. The tree's open, and you see the castle for the first time.
Allison grips the side of the boat a bit, terrified that it's moving without an engine.
I'm Professor Sinistra. In just a few moments, we have the very, very important task of the sorting ceremony. The sorting hat is placed over your eyes.
Makes sense. Are you saying I'm like my parents?
Better be Ravenclaw!
I get the sense that the sorting hat feels an obligation to sound all ominous and foreboding to every student, and it's like running out of things to say after so many years.
But he also only gets to talk to 11-year-olds.
Ravenclaw first years! First years this way! You see a wall, and in the middle of the wall, there's this large brass eagle.
Wait, we have to solve a different riddle every time? That sounds exhausting. Are you kidding me?
Luckily you picked Ravenclaw to be with your friends, right, Leo?
Okay, so I want to dive into a mystery that I think everybody has had ever since they first watched a Harry Potter movie in their lives, which is, where the hell do they get the ties? So, the first morning on your first day of classes, when you guys all wake up, on your various different pieces of furniture, so sometimes it would be on your desk, sometimes it would be on a chair next to your four-poster bed, there actually is some Ravenclaw-specific paraphernalia. There is a tie for each one of you that is part of your uniform, and you have to wear it.
Sweet. How do you wear a tie?
You tie it.
I don't know how.
Half Windsor.
Yeah, but we're 11.
Oh, actually, okay, that's a good point. There are also instructions for how to tie the tie.
Okay, good.
On a piece of parchment underneath. That's like like the IKEA-style diagram.
Okay, good. I'm gonna need help.
I think my character is just never quite gonna get it right.
Yeah.
Partially because he doesn't want to, but also he kind of can't.
Allison's tie is always perfectly knotted.
Same. Freya's very meticulous in how she puts on her tie.
Caleb definitely has a well-knotted tie. It's probably the nicest piece of clothing he owns.
I figured it out, but I do it haphazardly.
You mean haphazardly?
I figured it out, but Skyler... But I do it haphazardly?
Yeah.
It's haphazardly or half-heartedly.
Oh, English.
It's a different thing.
Language.
It's cool. I'm going to write it down on my list of weird things people say.
Yeah.
I want to see that list.
Oh, Mike, you're on the list?
It just says Mike.
I'm sure I'm on the list several times.
Okay, so I want to do some housekeeping now because we need to update our character sheets now that you've all been sorted into houses. One of the mechanics of this game, if you guys have all perused the rulebook at this point, is that everybody gets to pick a house trait. So now that you've been sorted into your house, everybody's a Ravenclaw. If you take a look, all Ravenclaw characters get to choose one of these benefits. So you can automatically succeed on an I read about that move once per day. You can shake off the dazed condition once per day. Or you can take +1 forward to all mind rolls for one scene once per day.
So I have a question about that.
Okay.
So is this based off of the house in particular? Like the house gives us this ability? Or is it more based off of most Ravenclaws would have these abilities?
Why are you trying to suggest that you're not really a Ravenclaw at heart and you should actually get
A
Slytherin power?
A Slytherin trait? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, totally. I'll absolutely allow this. Yeah,
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna take the no one saw that, which lets me re-roll a roll once per day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is your trait. You
Okay,
are
cool.
A Ravenclaw with a Slytherin trait.
That sounds very Freya.
All right, what is everybody else taking?
I think I'm going to take the ability that lets you get +1 mind for a scene once a day, because Caleb can get quick-witted when he's under pressure.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I'll take the I read about that because I used to know and read a lot of wizarding things before I moved home, so.
Allison is also going to take that. I read about that once per day because she feels like she doesn't really fit in with either world, so she's trying to assuage that anxiety by reading lots of things.
So I think Leo actually might be more of a Hufflepuff at heart. He's never really been into the Ravenclaw state of mind that his parents have always been pushing, and he's kind of a caring person, so I think that he might take the Hufflepuff trait of automatically succeed on a treat wounds move once per day.
Treat wounds?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So you want to be our healer?
Yeah, I mean, I have -1 heart, so I can't do that most of the time, but I think that, occasionally the feeling overcomes him that he might need to take care of someone.
Aw, he's got a strong paternal instinct.
Cute.
Just once per day, though. Don't count on it.
Then he just stops caring.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, make sure that you guys are all updating your character sheets with that, and let's get started. So you guys all wake up. You're all putting on your ties, getting ready for the first day of school. Does anyone want to do anything else as they're getting ready?
I'm going to use the back of the parchment that explains how to tie a tie and write a note to my muggle dad to catch him up on stuff and just be like, we're here, we're okay.
You're taking that to the owlery later?
Yeah, I'll pocket it for now.
Caleb is going to make sure to pack all of his books that he might need, and he's just eager to set off, so he's going to head down the stairs as early as possible.
Freya is in a bit of a daze. She wakes up and sees the tie and puts it on, really neatly according to the instructions, but, is not somehow waking up and is not expecting them to be blue.
I think Leo sees the tie and realizes not only does he hate ties, but his parents have always tied his ties for him, and he doesn't quite even get what the instructions are telling him to do, and he spends a lot of time trying to tie the tie, and rushes down with a very messy tie and forgets a few of his books.
Allison already had her books and parchment and quill and everything laid out from the night before, and so she finds her tie just sort of stacked on top of the pile ready to go, and she ties it perfectly on the second try, and she's all ready to go, looking fine.
Yeah, I think the 5 of you actually all see each other at various times walking down the spiral stairs to the central circular common room. As you're heading out the door towards breakfast, you actually notice a couple of older students who were kind of congregating around the exit to the common room. And you hear them whispering, and they're whispering pretty loudly.
Is Hannah there?
No, you don't see her. These students look older, like they might be in 5th or 6th year.
I'll walk right up to them.
They turn towards you. Hey, little guy, how you doing?
I'm Caleb.
Hey, Caleb, what's going on?
We're going to class. Any tips that you have for us?
Oh, yeah. So, just so you know, when you're done with classes, we're all going to head over to the 5th floor. I don't know if you know this, but there's a secret pool there. We're all going to hang out at the pool. So, if you want to join us...
That's so cool. How old are you guys? I'm a first year.
Okay. Yeah, we know you're a first year. Well, anyway, see you later. And they head out of the door. And
Can I roll a read between the lines?
yeah, totally.
I got a 7. Unfortunately, my heart is -1.
Okay, so it's a failure.
What does that mean in this case?
It just means you don't get to learn anything.
Oh, okay.
Were we all around for that?
Yeah, I think all of you were congregating by the door trying to get out and go to breakfast.
What'd you make of that?
I didn't bring a bathing suit.
I think they were making fun of you.
Yeah, I don't think there's a pool.
I want to go to the pool.
Those other kids on the train were so mean. I bet wizarding is very competitive.
Good thing we got each other.
So we're sure that they were being mean and there's not a pool.
I'm pretty sure there's not a pool, Leo.
I mean, there's a lake.
Yeah.
That's true. That's like a really big pool if you think about it.
But you heard
But we were
Hagrid.
told not to touch the lake.
Yeah.
Let's go to breakfast. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I wonder what they serve for breakfast.
So you all head down the long spiral staircase on the west side of the castle, and slowly but surely, mostly by following other Ravenclaws, make your way back to the Great Hall. And you sit down and you see breakfast. They're serving bacon and eggs. There's also toast, and they've got some different jams.
Allison goes for the bacon.
Leo goes for one of everything.
Freya makes a small plate of food, but ends up not touching it.
No, you're not hungry, Freya?
No, I guess not.
Nervous?
You could say that.
Me too.
What's up?
I can't help but feel I was supposed to be in Slytherin.
Oh. Well,
Also, I'm pretty sure my parents are going to be disappointed.
As you say that, there's a flurry of noise, and 100 owls of various different shapes and sizes and colors all swoop into the room. And right in front of you, Freya, a large package drops.
Great, something for Mom and Dad.
Maybe it's just snacks.
I don't know. They couldn't have found out already, right?
I mean, how would they?
Allison shrugs.
Right.
I think Leo, just with his mouth full, is like, it's weird that they let the owls come and swoop around while we're all eating. You know, you'd think that they'd get, like, bird poop everywhere.
I've never thought about that. Alright, so Freya's gonna really cautiously open the package.
Skylar's looking over your shoulder.
Inside is, well, there's a couple of things. On top, there's a letter. Underneath the letter, there is what looks like a sweatshirt. And on the sweatshirt is a big S, a big silver and green S. As you unfurl it and as you unwrap that, you see this picture frame with a picture of your mom and dad. And it looks like it's their 7th year. And your mom is actually wearing that sweatshirt that you're now holding.
Aw, your parents look so nice. I definitely don't know, though.
Oh my god, they're gonna be so disappointed in me.
Well, at least you haven't gotten expelled.
Sure, expulsion.
Yeah.
Honestly, expulsion sounds pretty good right now.
Aw. Skylar pats Freya on the back.
Allison also reaches over and just gives like 2 little pats. Not quite sure what to do.
Caleb hasn't done anything, but he's just sitting kind of darkly throughout this whole conversation, watching it.
Leo's still got his mouth full. He's like, sorry, your parents are evil.
How did you get that from this conversation?
Oh, you know, just Slytherins. They're bad.
Excuse me?
They're just the bad ones, right? Like, looking around for confirmation.
Excuse me? My entire family are Slytherins.
Skylar picks up the photo and shoves it in Leo's face. Do they look like evil people to you?
So Freya sets the box with the sweatshirt and the picture aside and unwraps the letter and starts to read it.
Dear Freya, your father and I couldn't be more proud of you. With love, Viola and Gannon Yaxley.
Come on, Ganon's a pretty evil name.
See, they're proud.
They're proud of me because I'm in Slytherin, but I'm not.
Well, they didn't say that in the letter, right? They just said they're proud of you.
Uh-huh. They sent me a Slytherin sweatshirt.
Let's see how long it'll take for them to figure it out.
I mean, I'm not going to tell them.
But it's like your mom's sweater. It's, sentimental.
You should wear that sweater anyway, right?
Wear a giant S on me? It's just going to label me as an outcast.
Well, it seems like everybody here wants to fight us. Plus, blue and green look good together.
I mean, I agree with you there.
How long do you think you can really keep that secret from them, though? I mean, they're going to find out eventually, right?
All right, how much do you want to bet? I'm going to say they don't find out until Christmas break. Two sickles.
Really? You're betting on this?
If you're comfortable with that.
I think it'll be sooner than that. 3 sickles.
I mean, if I am really trying, I bet you that they won't find out for the entirety of this year.
All right.
Wow.
But then what are they going to do when they find out that you've been lying to them for a year?
Also, I'm going to bet 1 galleon.
Ooh. Is it admittance of the truth?
No, it's them finding out that I am not in Slytherin. Whether that's by me or through something else.
Leo takes another big bite of food and says, "Good luck lying to your evil parents."
My parents are not evil.
So Allison looks up and is looking for her barn owl Zoe.
Yeah, no, your parents have not sent an owl today. You do notice that there's some teachers kind of milling around the Great Hall. One in particular is kind of making her way along the Ravenclaw table, and she's a tall, thin witch. She has brown eyes and kind of a soft, kind face. She's wearing glasses that have very thick rims, like hipster glasses, and she gets to your group and sees the 5 of you and says, more first years.
Hello.
Hello there. I am Professor Pritchard, and I am the head of Ravenclaw House. It's nice to meet all of you.
Good morning, Professor Pritchard.
You don't need to be so formal with me. That's okay. Now here, I have these for you. And she is holding this stack of papers, and she hands one to each of you. It is a schedule. So I'm going to give you guys the whole schedule right now.
Awesome.
I'm going to paste it in our chat. So if you take a look at the schedule, a couple of things.
I'm sorry, we have astronomy at midnight on Wednesdays and then transfiguration at 8 a.m. on Thursdays?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What's physical education?
Right, we have gym class on Wednesday?
Yeah, I do enjoy that the wizard school still has physical education.
So let's go over all of the classes that you have in first year. So you're going to be taking History of Magic, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Charms, Transfiguration, Potions, Herbology, Astronomy, and Phys Ed.
They don't tell you about that in the books, but it's important.
No, they do
Well,
tell you about
do they?
do tell you
Isn't
about it in
that
the books.
where they
It's
learn
called
flying?
class.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it called Phys Ed in the books, though?
It is called Flying, and you'll find out more later.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
I was trying to decide between that and Wizard Gym. So yeah, if you take a look at your schedule today, Monday, you have Transfiguration in just a few minutes with Professor Pritchard. Then you have a free period. Then there's lunch. And then in the afternoon, you have Defense Against the Dark Arts.
All right.
And so Professor Pritchard looks down at all of you and says, "Now, young Ravenclaws, I am very excited to see you in a few minutes once class starts. See you then." And she kind of gives you like an awkward wave, like she's trying to. She's kind of trying to like be part of the gang.
Oh.
And
Oh, man.
kind of like continues to move down the table.
I wave back.
I wave back too.
Allison just smiles awkwardly.
But you guys, where is Transfiguration?
You'd think they would give us a map.
Maybe we should ask her before she leaves. Professor Pritchard?
She's already gone. She can't hear you.
Are we sitting nearby any upper level classmates?
Actually, yes. So, right nearby where you guys sat down are 2 older students, a boy and a girl. One of them you actually met last night. His name is Emmanuel, and he is the 5th year prefect.
Right. Oh, perfect.
And there's also a girl who's talking to him. She's got bushy red hair. She's wearing glasses. She also seems very athletic, and you don't know who she is.
Okay. Skyler's going to face Emmanuel and try to catch his eye.
He does not immediately notice you. He's engaged in his conversation. Seems to be something about Quidditch.
Skyler waits for kind of a pause in the conversation, and when it happens, say, excuse me, Emmanuel?
Oh, hey,
Skyler.
Skyler, right. I knew that.
I mean,
how are you doing?
There's so many of us. I don't expect you to know.
Yeah, well, I try to make a point of learning the first year's names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, so what can I do? What can I do for you?
Just a question. Where is Transfiguration? We have it today at 8.
And the girl who was talking to him actually turns to you and she says, "Oh, it's up on the 3rd floor on the east side of the school."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Skyler, my name is Danica. And she, like, holds her hand out.
I reach out my hand to shake. Nice to meet you, Danica.
Wow, that's a firm handshake you got there. You play any sports? Just so you know, I'm the captain of the Ravenclaw Quidditch team. We're always looking for new recruits.
Totally interested, Danica.
And she kind of gives you, like, a little bit of a smile. And then turns back to Emmanuel and continues their conversation.
I turn to Allison. Allison, let's join the Quidditch team.
I don't know. I'm not very athletic. Like, remember that dodgeball incident?
Skyler turns to Caleb. Caleb, let's join the Quidditch team.
Oh yeah, Caleb's gonna go for a high five on that one.
Yes. I high five you.
Hey, do you think we should ask them about the pool party?
No.
Hey, if you want to check it out, you could always go to the 5th floor when they said, but I also don't think you're going to find anything.
I think Leo's smart enough to know that they were lying, but he's also gonna wonder all day.
You guys ready to go? Do you guys need to grab anything before we head out?
Wait, what do I do with this box with this sweater?
Oh, just wear it.
I'm not wearing this to class.
I'll wear it. Skyler, like, smiles really big. I like trouble.
That's okay. And Freya, like, shoves everything back in the box and closes it and just, like, carries it with her.
Allison gets all of her books, puts her schedule very neatly on top of her stack of books, and is ready to go.
Woo! I grab a piece of toast to eat on the way.
Allison starts walking out of the Great Hall.
Caleb follows.
Do you guys all go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's in front?
I mean, Skyler knows where we're going, right?
That's right. I think I do, at least. Do I have to roll for that?
No, no, they gave you pretty specific instructions about how to get to the class.
All right, cool.
As you exit the Great Hall, I want you to make a struggle roll.
Oh no.
Because out of the corner of your eye, you see an egg flying at your head.
Is it all of us or is it just Skyler?
Skyler.
Just Skyler, okay. I'll put my dice down.
6 plus 3 minus 1. 8.
On a 7 to 9, choose one. Shrug off the damage, take something from them, surprise them, or frighten them.
Ooh.
An egg is flying at your head.
Surprise them!
Complete success.
Okay.
Should just, like, catch the egg.
Yeah.
That's what I was actually
Yeah.
what I was going to say. You catch the egg.
Aw, yeah.
And then you look up,
Oh, yeah.
and terrifying, ghostly specter is floating 20 feet above you, cackling madly.
You guys...
Ooh! Icky firsties! And he starts just throwing some more eggs at you.
Run!
Caleb's convinced.
Skylar starts poking
Allison
it.
is convinced.
I just glare at Peeves and then keep walking.
I think I maybe pick up one of the eggs that's definitely like cracked already and throw it back at Beefs.
Oh, okay, that's definitely a roll. I don't know which roll it is, but I'm gonna... Okay, let's call that show courage. Why don't you roll show courage?
Sure. Let's see how this
Roll
goes.
plus soul when you try to show courage in the face of something truly terrifying.
Peeves throwing eggs is truly terrifying.
That is 8 plus 0. That is an 8.
On a 7 to 9, you stand strong, but are still scared of this terror. Choose one. You're absolutely terrified, and everyone knows it, but at least you're still here. Don't back down, but it's hard to concentrate, and you take -1 forward when challenging this terror. You let your friends down, but gain a +1 forward when challenging this terror.
I don't think I'm going to need to challenge this particular terror again. I think the first one, I think I'm terrified and everyone knows it, but at least I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say that means that you pick up the egg, but then you're like, and then you like run off.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, so like while you guys are scrambling around trying to like dodge these eggs and face danger in the fear of egg, you see Emmanuel run out of the Great Hall holding his wand up and just saying, "Oi, Peeves! Get out of here!" And Peeves kind of like gives him a raspberry, but kind of just still floats there. "I'm serious! I'll call the headmistress! Don't even start with me!" And Peeves kind of looks annoyed but then he zips away and flies off in the other direction.
Do you think Emmanuel saw me catch the egg out of the air?
Yeah, no, he definitely saw you catch that egg.
Yes!
Oh, you are definitely going to be on the Quidditch team.
Yeah, good job catching that egg, Skyler.
Danica is also, like, rushing over, and she's like, hey, you guys all right? Man, that Peeves, he's the worst.
Yeah, but did you see Skylar catch the egg?
She kind of, like, puts her hand on her hip and is like, yeah, I did. It was pretty cool.
Thanks.
And she kind of looks around. I was serious about that Quidditch tryout. They're on Tuesday.
Skylar checks their schedule. What time?
Oh, well, we're going to have our first round of sort of introductions at around 5, and then tryouts right after that.
Awesome. Well, I was serious about trying out, so you'll see me there.
Great. Can't wait to see you. And she looks at Emmanuel and grabs his hand, and then they walk up the stairs.
Skylar turns to Caleb and starts jumping up and down and puts one hand on his shoulder. Caleb, 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 Caleb!
Yeah, that was really good.
You should try out with me.
I definitely will.
Well, wait, I can catch an egg too. Somebody throw an egg at me.
I throw the egg at you.
I try to catch it.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, you're going to roll for that for sure.
I feel like that's a struggle.
Yeah, no, that's a struggle.
Yeah,
That's
all right.
struggle.
-2 for Buddy. Let's go. 7 minus 2 is a 5.
Well, you have egg on your face. That's what
In more ways than one.
Aww.
Yeah, no, the egg splatters on your face. Like actually, you, like, waved your hands in front of you, like, trying to catch the egg, and were, like, so comically wrong that actually, like, if you had just stood there and done nothing, the egg would have dropped harmlessly in front of you. But because you were, like, so aggressively trying to, like, catch it, you just, like, accidentally slam your face into the egg, causing it to explode.
Oh,
Leo
no.
looks at the floor as if to say, that's enough social interaction for today.
Oh, no.
Leo, I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
Allison nips back into the Great Hall and, like, finds a napkin off the table and brings it out to Leo.
He's already rubbed it on his robes. It's fine.
Oh gosh.
Oh, gross.
Alright, we should probably head to class. I don't want to be late.
Yeah, let's go.
And now, a word from our wizard sponsors.
Allum self-cleaning cauldron.
Did your teenage wizard forget about a half-baked love potion in your favorite cauldron, and now it's gonna spoil your soup? Did your scalding charm for cleaning it burn your eyebrows off? Ah! Allum's self-cleaning cauldron will fix the cauldron, fix your soup, and fix your eyebrows. Well, maybe not your eyebrows. Buy Allum's self-cleaning cauldron. It will clean itself, something your teenager could likely learn a thing or two about. Get yours today. Sold wherever pots are sold.
Side effects may include missing eyebrows, overgrown eyebrows, asymmetrical eyebrows, unibrows, or whoopsies.
Allum self-cleaning cauldron.
Hi, everybody. This is Kevin, your resident Potter nerd. Thanks to the people over at Allum's Cleaning Supply Emporium for their support. Thank you so much for listening to Why Can't We Be Wizards? I'm going to be real quick. First, I have a couple of quick announcements. Definitely check out our website, whycan'twebewizards.com, and find us and give us a shout on Twitter at Why Not Wizards. Also, if you enjoyed this, please rate and review us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download podcasts. I also want to give another quick shout out to Tablestory for making a really awesome game system that we're using called Witchcraft and Wizardry. Definitely check them out as well. We'll drop a link in the episode description. So once again, thank you so much for listening, and now back to the show. Okay, so the 5 of you all head up the stairs. You head towards the 3rd floor, towards the section of the castle dedicated to transfiguration. You find Professor Pritchard's classroom pretty quickly, and you make it just in time. And you find your way to your seats, ready to learn.
Cool.
So actually, all of the seats are in pairs. and everyone needs to pick a seat to sit down. So there's 5 of you. Does any of you sit together? Just who sits by themselves? Like, who do you sit with?
Caleb did just see Leo take an egg to the face, but he's gonna walk over to him hesitantly and be like, partners?
Alright, yeah.
Allison turns to Skyler and says, you want to sit together?
Sure.
Freya doesn't mind sitting by herself.
Freya. I think Dakota walks in last and sees you sitting by yourself, Freya.
Okay.
And sits next to you and says, "Hey, how you doing?"
I'm okay. How are you?
If you don't remember her, she's the girl from...
She likes potions.
She's the only other named first-year Ravenclaw so far.
Yeah.
Good, because I didn't remember.
Yeah, you guys met her at the feast.
Yeah, no, I vaguely remember. Alright. How is your first day of classes going?
Well, we haven't, started yet, so good.
I hope you didn't encounter Peeves on the way here like we did. He was throwing eggs at us.
Yeah, I kind of saw the aftermath of that, I think. And then just as you're starting this conversation, Professor Pritchard walks into the class, closes the door, and stands in front of all of you. And she says, "Now, I'm sure that just about every teacher in this school will attempt to impress upon you the importance of their own subjects. Can anyone tell me what transfiguration is?"
Caleb raises his hand.
Allison also raises her hand, but not quite enthusiastically.
Yeah, I think she sees Caleb's enthusiasm and calls on him. "Yes, Caleb, right?"
Caleb Mirkwood, ma'am. Transfiguration is when something changes shape and form.
She smiles, makes a curt little nod, and says, 5 points to Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Yes, transfiguration is the branch of magic particularly interested in altering the form and appearance of physical things and objects. Make no mistake, to turn a thing into another thing, it requires precise understanding of scientific theory, proper application, and impeccable determination. Now, every teacher here may think that their particular subject is the most important, but I want to impress upon you that transfiguration is the most, difficult and the most dangerous. And with that, she turns around and she points her wand at a nearby wastebasket. Then there's a flash of light, and it is transformed before your very eyes into a cute little pit bull.
Aww.
She kneels down, and she kind of scratches it on the head, gives it a little rub, and then pulls her wand out. There's another flash, and it's a wastebasket again.
But where did that pit bull go?
Do you think it still thinks it's a pit bull?
Yeah, where did that consciousness come from, and then where did it go?
Or does the wastebasket have a consciousness?
She stands back up and says, "Students, quiet down now. I want to impress upon you the danger in this class cannot be overstated. Now, as the head of Ravenclaw House, I have very high expectations of all of you Ravenclaws in particular. I expect your full attention at all times. Now," and she kind of lowers her gaze a little bit so that it doesn't seem so forceful anymore. "Shall we begin? Please, open your books and turn to page 4. And with that, she heads to the board and starts to write some complicated notes on the chalkboard behind her.
Caleb's gonna take those notes as quickly and efficiently as he can, writing down everything.
Allison opens her book to page 4.
All right, so she's lecturing for about half an hour, and
Oh god, Allison rolls her eyes. No, she doesn't.
I think she does. That sounds like...
Alright, Allison's starting to get a little bored with this half an hour lecture.
It's day
Okay.
1! Allison!
Hey, I already read the chapter. She's not saying anything that's not in the book.
Caleb's gonna flip open the book and check to see if this is true.
While you're doing that, she says, "All right, let's take that theory and turn it into practical application." And she points to a table in the back of the room, and on the table are a bunch of little thimbles. Now, we're going to break off into pairs, and you're going to turn that thimble into a marble. And she has one on her desk, and she shows off the rotating motion with her wand, and the thimble morphs into this like really pretty green and blue marble that has like all these nice swirls in it. All right, get started, class.
Allison, you want me to get your thimble?
Yes, please.
Cool. I'm gonna go over to the thimbles and grab one. Grab two.
Yeah, Caleb goes up at the same time and grabs a pair of thimbles for himself and Leo.
It's a good thing Caleb did that because Leo was not paying attention and his eyes went wide when she said that.
Yeah, Caleb was assuming that was the case, actually.
Freya goes up to get one for her and her partner, her new partner.
Yeah, so Dakota kind of gives you a smile and a little bit of a wave as you go and do that for her.
All right, let's try this.
So yeah, go for it. Cast some magic.
Oh, yeah.
Magic.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. I rolled a 10.
Okay, yeah, on a 10 plus, the spell succeeds. So yeah, I mean, what kind of marble do you turn your thimble into?
My marble is black with blue and green spirals in the middle.
Professor Pritchard sees this whole thing. She's standing right in front of your desk and says, "Oh, marvelous work, marvelous work. That is a beautiful marble."
Skyler whispers to Allison, "Marvelous. Marvelous."
Allison looks a bit confused, but is going to try to turn her thimble into the marble and does the same wand motion that the professor did. I have a 10.
Yeah, you also succeed.
So my marble has purple swirls through like a black to white gradient with kind of gray in the middle and then like purple swirls around it.
Sweet.
I also rolled a success with a 10.
Wow.
Jeez, we're all just
succeeding on the
succeeding
magic.
today.
Okay, yeah, what color is your marble?
Caleb's marble is kind of like a glazed gray with a green center.
Like, Leo looks around and sees, oh, okay, it's marbles, all right.
You have to picture it in your mind. Remember how my badgering spell went wrong? This one worked. I really thought about the marble.
All right. Leo closes his eyes and thinks real hard and then tries to cast the spell. Oh, man. 4 plus 2 is a 6.
That is a failure.
Plus your magic?
Yeah, my magic is plus 2. I rolled a 4.
Wait, don't you roll 2 d6s?
Yeah, I rolled a 3 and a 1.
Oh.
Well, I guess that's what you get for not paying attention in class. What
Sounds
went wrong
right.
with the spell? Like, what did you not do?
I think that he was still really preoccupied with the whole egg on face thing, and maybe it turned into some egg.
Oh no! You turn your thimble into some egg?
I don't know. I think so.
not an egg.
Some
but
No,
egg,
just
like
like
loose
some
egg. Like loose raw
Yeah,
egg. Yeah, I think
just like
Professor
some
Pritchard
cracked
is
egg
standing
mess.
there watching. She's like, "All right, go ahead, try it out." And then when it turns into just like some loose egg on your desk, she has this very visceral, raw reaction of like, "Oh." And then she's like realizes that it's kind of offensive for her to like be unhappy with him, and so she's like tries to compose herself really quick. She takes a breath. She's like, good try, Leo. And she kind of like
Leo
pats
definitely
you on the
noticed
back
that.
a little bit.
Caleb shakes
Leo
his
is
head,
very ashamed.
obviously not as impressed with the professor or with Leo for that stunt.
Skyler waves their wand with a look of determination and rolls an 8.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, the spell succeeds, but there are side effects. In this case, I actually think the spell just has a diminished effect. So what happens is your thimble, it changes to the color you're imagining your marble was going to be, but it retains its thimble shape. So what color does it turn into?
I was imagining it to be crystal clear with like a blue swirl in it.
Okay, yeah, so now you have a crystal clear blue swirled thimble sitting on your desk.
Cool.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, Professor Pritchard walks over and picks it up. Well, you certainly had the proper determination. I just don't know if you had, well, the proper theory. I recommend that you look over your notes a little bit more, and then, give it another shot as a little bit of extra homework.
Thanks, I will.
Speaking of that, and she looks at a clock in the back of the room. Well, class is just about over. Students, and she rushes over to her desk and, picks out her notes. The homework for next class, please, make sure you read all of Chapter 1, and please come prepared for class with an essay on the 4 branches of Transfiguration. And then just as she says that, you hear a bell ring, and class is over.
Caleb is going to write his homework down with his quill on the side of his notes.
Allison's gonna take her marble with her, put it in her pocket.
You pocketed it.
You pocketed
I pocketed it.
Pocketed it.
I think Leo notices how awkward and anxious Professor Pritchard is, and kind of smiles, noticing that, I don't know, he relates to that. He likes her. And as he's thinking about that, he forgets to write down the homework.
I freaking love your character, Mike.
Is this you
I
in
did realize-
middle school?
I did realize
you,
that I wrote down smart on his character sheet, and I have not been playing him smart.
That's fine. That just means that when you level up, you can change your character traits. Okay, so you guys have a free period now. So from now until lunchtime, you can do whatever you guys want. What does everyone want to do?
Allison wants to start this essay on the 4 things of
Oh my
Transfiguration.
Freya wants to go to the library and look at all the books.
How is that not the worst suggestion so far?
Does anyone want to go to the owlry? I want to send a letter.
Oh yeah, let's go. I'll write a quick note to Dad.
But
Give me a minute.
reading the books in the library.
Oh, I'm with you, Freya. We should learn as much as we can, as fast as we can. That way we get ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if my parents are gonna find out that I'm not in Slytherin, I need to learn as much magic before that if I want to survive.
Oh my God. Are you
Defend
expecting
yourself against your
combat?
parents?
No, Freya's joking. Freya's 100%
Mortal
joking.
Kombat.
And you're saying your parents are not evil?
I mean, they're gonna kill me, but not really.
I mean, people have been disowned for less.
Seems kind
Great, thanks! Thanks for that.
I think Leo's going to follow anyone who's not going to the library, because he's had enough.
Well, it looks like me and Caleb are going to the library.
Allison and Skyler are going to go off to the owlry.
I think Leo tags along with them.
Okay, so the 3 of you wave goodbye and head off towards the owlry.
So, Leah, do you have any, what pet did you bring?
Yeah, I brought my owl. His name is Hobbs.
Nice.
Yeah, Hobbs is great. He's a little loud and kind of hard to manage, but I love him.
That's cute. Zoe always liked to steal my socks and just fly around the room with them. Anyway, Leo, are you writing a letter to somebody?
Nah, I just didn't really want to go to the library.
Yeah, I feel ya. Who wants to go, sneeze on dusty old books?
Although I'm pretty sure my parents are going to write soon, so I'm going to have to get used to this owlry.
I mean, you don't have to write back, right? I mean, you probably
Well.
should.
They would probably get pretty upset if I didn't.
Yeah, probably. Well, I'm gonna write one to my dad. He'll probably want to know that I got into Ravenclaw. And I'm hoping for some more Snickers bars.
Oh, yeah. Can you ask him to send, double the amount? I've already run out of my stash.
Yeah, I can't seem to find Snickers bars here.
I still don't get why they call them Snickers. They're not magical. How do they make you snicker?
So, as you guys are discussing candy bars, you find yourselves at the top of the tower, and you are now in the owlry. It is a large, wide, open room. There's all these windows. There's a ton of owls, all just sort of free, flying around or sitting perched on various perches. It is kind of smelly in here.
This is where they poop, not in the Great Hall.
Yeah. Leo feels a little bit better about his robes being all dirty.
Ugh. Skylar covers their nose with their robes, and looks around for their owl.
Allison puts 2 fingers in her mouth and gives a whistle, and Zoe flies down from one of the upper perches to come and land on Allison's shoulder.
So you see her fly off a perch nearby and land right on your shoulder. And she gives your ear a little bit of a nip.
Aw, hey,
She nuzzles
Zoe.
against you. It's adorable.
I know, I can't steal any socks in here. And so then Allison holds out the parchment that she had written before with the additional PS for additional Snicker bars for Skyler, and holds it out to Zoe. Hey Zoe, you wanna fly on home?
She sticks out her leg.
Ooh, I'll just attach my letter to Zoe too, since you have her.
She kind of cocks her head
Yeah, that
when you
works.
say that, like, really, too?
Skylar hands their letter to Allison. Thanks.
Allison ties both letters to Zoe's leg that's sticking out.
Yeah, so Zoe ruffles her feathers, gives herself a little bit of a shake, and then takes off. Okay, so what's going on in the library?
Let's ask the librarian what the best books are.
Show us your best books, please. Oh man, I really
Only
want to
your
walk
finest
into a library and do that now.
You see a middle-aged looking wizard sitting behind a desk. He's got glasses on, and he has currently got his nose in a book.
Excuse me, Mr. Librarian?
He looks startled as he kind of like almost falls out of his chair. He did not notice anyone was here. Hey, and he kind of stands up and dusts his robes off a little bit and says, what do you need?
Hello, I'm Caleb.
Oh, okay, well,
I'm a first year here. It's my first day.
yeah, and so he kind of dusts himself off and he runs his finger through his mustache, kind of trying to, like, I don't know, get some food out of it or something, and says, I am the librarian, Sir Bragglewort. How can I help you?
Well, I was hoping you might know some stuff to, like, help us find our way around Hogwarts and know the best books for first years. Caleb looks up, his eyes sparkling.
I mean, what subject are you trying to learn about, I guess?
At this, Freya like touches his shoulder and says, "Our next class is Defense Against the Dark Arts. We should read up on that."
Defense Against the Dark
Yeah,
Arts.
I heard her.
I guess.
I can. That's fine. Yeah, no. There's a whole section right over there. The third aisle on the left, 2 shelves down. There should be a whole section on elementary defense against the dark arts. It's a pretty good book, actually. And he kind of gets out from behind the desk and starts walking over towards you. Now, please be quiet
Caleb
while you're
follows.
in the library. And he walks you over to the shelf he described and pulls out an old-looking book. And it just says, Practical Defensive Arts for Beginners, which is the textbook that you have for class. And he hands it to you and he says, this is a very good book. I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
So, question: from where we are, can we see the restricted section?
Not now, but when
Not
you
now.
were at the desk, you totally could, because the restricted section is behind the librarian's desk, and it is roped off.
Oh. So I'm gonna ask him, what about that roped off section behind your desk? What kind of books are there?
The restricted section. Sorry. I can't help you with that. Those are very dangerous books that not just anyone should be reading. They're full of old and dark magic. They're only for older students on very specific projects or professors who need some kind of specialized information for any projects that they are working on. Anyway, this should be good for you for now. I'm going to get back to the desk to make sure,
But, Sir Bragglewort,
yes? What?
I was wondering if you had any books on the castle, too, though. We don't want to get lost, and
You don't want to get lost.
Hogwarts, the castle here.
He kind of scratches his head and he says, the Hogwarts is unplottable, right? Like, you can't make a map out of it.
I didn't know that. No, I did not.
No, it's a whole thing. You can't do that. It's not allowed. It's just not the magic here prevents it. It's just not a thing. We do have this, and he walks back towards the front of the library and points to a stack of books all labeled Hogwarts: A History.
Could I borrow a copy of that?
Oh, yes, it's the new edition. It should have all kinds of information in it.
Oh.
Caleb is going to take a copy of the Defense Against the Dark Arts book and a copy of the Hogwarts: A History. Even though he already has the Defense Against the Dark Arts book, he wants the librarian to like him.
Freya's gonna look at the books, like, next to where he pulled out the Defense Against the Dark Arts book, and take one of those instead. Because it's like, this whole section is Defense Against the Dark Arts, right? So I'm just gonna take everything besides the one I already have.
Okay, yeah, you take, how many, would you just take one book?
I'm gonna take, like, 3.
Okay, yeah, you take books of various different, there's a book that's specifically about dangerous creatures, there's a book specifically about spells, and then you also take a book that's about specifically curses and, like, how to avoid curses.
Awesome.
Do you want to go read outside class?
Could we just go read in the Great Hall?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so, like, as you guys start walking out of the library, Sir Bragglewort looks at you, he's like, hey, you have to check those out. You can't just leave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, how do we do that?
You need to come here, and then I'll stamp the book, and you'll write your name in it, and then I'll give you the book. And then you need to bring it back within the next 2 weeks, or else you'll get in trouble.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be back here tomorrow.
Wait, what happens if we don't bring it back in 2 weeks?
You'll get in a
What
lot
kind
of
of trouble?
But
what kind of trouble?
he definitely is like, he like lowers his glasses and looks at you and is like, do you really want to know what kind of trouble you'll be in? Is that something you're looking at, like, day one?
I'm just
day
curious.
One. It's day one.
I'm not going to.
You guys are first years, right?
I'm just curious, sir. It's not that I'm not going to bring these books back. I promise I'm going to bring these books back.
Curiosity killed the cat. So that's a thing. Look it up. It's in books.
Oh my God,
He
it's
would
as if
know.
you guys never been to a library before. I would like your best book, please.
Yeah. It's like going to a restaurant. I'll have one sandwich, please.
I'll have your most expensive thing on the menu, please.
Alright, at that I just leave it and we're just gonna check the books out.
Yeah, okay, so you guys check the books out. He takes a note of your names as you fill them out. And then he waves goodbye and then sits back down and starts to read his book again. Yeah, no, so it's time to head to Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Cool. It's gonna be with the Gryffindors.
Aren't those 2 boys that picked on you in that class?
Oh, they'll totally be there. All right, you guys. I think that they might be being mean. And Skyler puts little quotation marks with their hands. Because they want to be friends with us.
I don't know if they want to be your friends. Didn't seem like that to me.
When you're, like, a lot younger and kids are being mean, it really just means they want to be your friends. I think it's the same situation in this case.
Or they're just being mean to feel better about themselves.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make them feel good about themselves.
Well, if things get too far, just know that I will not tolerate them being mean to you.
Yeah, we've got your back, Skyler.
Don't worry, they do not bother me at all.
It may not bother you, but it bothers me to see a friend of mine being picked on.
Yeah, we're siblings. We gotta protect each other's backs. And Allison, like, crosses her forearms like she's, like, a bro at a skater park.
Okay, so you guys find your way to the Defense Against Dark Arts classroom. As you walk in, the classroom's actually pretty empty. You've gotten there a few minutes early, and some Ravenclaws start to file in, as well as some other students you haven't really seen too much before, but presume are all different Gryffindors. Your 2 best buds, Lawrence and Barney, walk in, and they actually don't even, like, give you the time of day, and they head towards the very back of the room and sit down.
Caleb's gonna put away his book and get up and go towards those guys. Hey there, guys. I think we got off on the wrong foot on the train. I'm Caleb.
So the two of them are arm wrestling as you're doing this, and they just like ignore you while they finish their game. Barney manages to like overpower Lawrence and throws his arm to the table, then looks up and he's like, "What?"
Wow, you're really strong.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder who's stronger, you or me?
Lawrence laughs, kind of leans back, and he's like, "You think you can beat Barney? He's like the strongest kid I know."
I don't remember him being that strong on the train.
Okay. I think that is a show courage roll.
Oh yeah, I got a 10.
On a 10 plus, you look fear in the eye and do not break. Gain +1 forward when challenging. So, for this, you're gonna roll struggle. So roll plus body, and you're gonna struggle against Barney as you guys arm wrestle.
Oh, so he's gonna do it.
Oh yeah, no, he is. So he rolls up the sleeve of his robe, and he puts his elbow down, and he gives you like this really serious look.
All right. If I beat you, though, will you go easy on my friends? You've been really picking on us, and it's not cool.
Tell you what, you beat me, I'll do whatever you want.
Caleb's gonna raise his eyebrows at that one, and he's gonna put his hand out.
Alright, roll struggle.
I got an 8 minus 1.
But you also get +1.
So I got a flat 8.
On a 7 to 9, you're going to choose one. Shrug off the damage, take something from them, surprise them, or frighten them.
I'm gonna take something from him. His, sense of self-respect.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So I think
All right.
you're still going to lose, because
Okay.
he's stronger than you. But he's not just going to like totally dominate. Like even for a second, his arm starts going down, and he sees this really, really almost scary flash in your eyes. Like this aggression, and then he just overpowers your arm and pushes you down and wins the fight.
Oh.
He gets up and then just starts like putting his hands in the air like, "Yo, what's up? Gryffindor rules!" And Lawrence is like, "Yeah, hoo-hoo-hoo. Sucks to be you, nerd."
He won fair and square. I guess you get to keep picking on us.
And then, just as you say that, the door at the top of the small staircase in the front of the room bursts open. A tall, handsome man. He's got this very carefully maintained long brown hair, bright blue eyes, and he's got this lazy grin. He kind of like lopes his way down the stairs. He's holding a half-eaten apple, and he just like tosses it like a basketball shot into the trash bin.
Oh no.
Hello, hello, hello. All right now, firsties. Let's settle down.
Caleb's gonna go back to his seat.
As you do that, he sees the back of the room and he's like, "Oh." And he points at Lawrence and he says, "Little Lawrence?" And he walks to the back of the class and says, "Hey, how are you, bud? How's your dad doing? I heard he finally retired." And he like gives Lawrence a fist bump, which Lawrence returns. Then he just kind of like leans against the wall in the back of the room and just starts like chatting with these two kids.
Skyler leans over to Caleb and hisses at him. "Caleb, did you just tell those boys that they could continue picking on us?"
Let him try, Caleb says. Those two aren't nothing but wusses.
What?
Yeah, I could see it in their eyes. They're scared.
I don't want this situation to be blown out of proportion.
Sorry, Skyler. They just get under my skin.
Finally, the professor walks back to the front of the class. "Hello, everyone. I am Professor Fessel, and I am your Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher." Now, first year Defense Against the Dark Arts, am I right? Look, defense against the dark arts, it's so important, right? Like, I don't know if you all knew this. I used to be an Auror. It was hard work. dangerous folk.
Allison
Evil-
raises her hand.
Now, hold on, little lady. I'm talking. I'll take questions at the end. Now, evil, creepy crawlies, too. There's lots to learn. And believe you me, the world out there is dangerous. First year, though, it's a bit of a laugh, if you ask me. So, we don't really get into the interesting stuff for a couple of years. So, here's what's going to happen. Why don't all of y'all just open up your books to the first chapter and have a read? And with that, he sits down at the desk in the front of the room and opens up a book and just starts reading it.
Allison slowly retracts her hand and just opens up her book.
I've already read it, but I guess it can't hurt to read it again, Caleb says aloud.
And Fessel definitely heard that, but he doesn't say anything.
Allison can't resist and raises her hand again.
Fessel ignores it for a little while.
Allison starts to get dejected and just slowly retracts their hand again.
Freya whispers to Leo, "Are we just gonna read? Are we not gonna do any magic?"
Doesn't seem very interesting, does it?
No.
I think Leo has opened his book, but he's just started like doodling in the margins a little bit.
Professor, what's an horror? Allison can't stand it and just bursts out with the question.
He sits up and he kind of like ruffles his hair and he's like, "Oh, so you want to hear about being an Auror, huh?"
Ooh, yeah.
Caleb shuts his book, intent.
Well, it's pretty sweet. You get a license to do just about whatever you want, let me tell you. And, you just go around and you find dangerous people doing bad things and, you take care of them, if you know what I mean.
No.
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean take
Well,
care of them?
it's kind of
Are
complicated.
you saying you've killed someone?
Or, provided mental health services?
At that, he gets deadly serious. And he looks at
Oh,
Freya and walks over to her desk and kind of like leans forward in front of her and says, "Don't you ever ask me that question again."
He totally did.
I don't think he did.
Look, the world out there is dangerous. There are bad people in it. Maybe I did some bad things. Maybe I didn't. But damn it, the world is better because of it. And he kind of like puts his hand on his head. "I don't want to hear from the rest of you for the rest of class." And he walks back to his desk and starts poring over his book.
Caleb makes a yikes face over at Allison and then starts reading his book again.
Freya's gonna grab one of the books that she grabbed from the library and read that instead of the book that she already read for this class.
Allison is just gonna sit there kind of stunned that her question received such a response and that she still doesn't quite know what an Auror actually does, but just doesn't want to ask any follow-up questions.
Okay, yeah, so the rest of class basically goes just like this. The bell rings, and Professor Fessel, just kind of looks up. "All right, firsties. See you next time." He doesn't assign you any homework, though.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Professor.
Leo's fine with it. He's happy with the no homework.
Freya is actually going to go up to him after class and apologize. "Professor Fessel,
He lowers the book, and he looks at you.
I just wanted to apologize. I didn't mean anything by my question."
"No, that's all right, dear. Just don't ever ask me that again."
"I won't." And Freya turns around and runs out of the classroom.
Okay, so class is over for the day. Is there anything else you guys like to do?
I want to head back to the common room and change out of this tie.
I think as we're walking back, Leo's like, "Wait, do we want to go look for that pool?"
Really?
I don't think there's a pool, Leo.
Yeah, but if on the off chance that there is,
And maybe we find something cool.
like a pool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can explore the castle. It's our first day.
Yeah, I'd be up for exploring. Maybe if we changed first.
Yeah, let's put these books in our room.
Pool. Pull.
I think Freya is specifically going to change out of her robes and her Ravenclaw tie and put on her mom's Slytherin sweater and actually wear it.
You're really gonna wear that?
I mean, she wants me to, right? That's why she sent it.
It clashes with your eyes.
And Blue doesn't.
Oh, I don't know. Wear whatever you want. You're just not a Slytherin, so it seems a little weird.
I guess you're right. Maybe I shouldn't wear this. Freya decides after that conversation to just take the sweatshirt off and is just wearing a different sweatshirt. Let's go help them find a pool that doesn't exist.
Yeah, maybe we'll find something else that's cool along the way.
Right.
Like a really cool bathtub with murals and stuff.
Isn't that just a pool, but with murals?
I mean, that's cool too, right? Except for you're naked and you're not normally naked in a
fair.
pool.
You have to be naked in the bathroom. Yeah, that's what it's like, why couldn't Harry wear a bathing suit?
Yeah.
Professor Pritchard?
Come in.
Hi, Professor. I know that we talked earlier, but I just wanted to check in. Now that I'm here, I'm staying in a room with a few other students.
Caleb, come in, please, come in, sit down. And she offers you a chair.
Caleb sits down.
How was your first day? How's everything going?
Well, it was alright, but Professor Thessel didn't even teach us anything. He just yelled about how he didn't kill anyone or did kill some people. I don't know.
She puts her thumb and index finger on her temples and kind of like rubs her face. Oh, well, I'll handle him. Don't worry about that. We'll sort that all out. I'm more asking about you. Like, is everything going okay? Are you making friends?
Oh, I found a bunch of my friends, actually. We used to know each other. We were all at Skyler's mom's daycare. I'm not sure if you knew about that.
Really? No, I didn't.
Oh, well, maybe you should ask Headmistress McGonagall. It was quite an ordeal.
She rubs her chin and then walks over to a table. Well, I'll have to ask her. In the meantime, this is for you. And she holds up a small vial with an opaque white liquid, and she hands it to you. Now, I've been told by our potions master that you just need to take that once a week, and it should be fine.
Just the first 2 weeks before. Yeah, I know how
Okay,
it works.
good. Oh,
Thank
so
you,
you've
Professor.
used it before. You're familiar. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
my dad used to make it, actually.
Okay, well, and she kind of uncomfortable, like she's trying to reach out to you, but she doesn't really know how. Like she actually opens her mouth to try to say something, and like the words just don't come. And finally, she says, "Look, Caleb, if there's anything that you need, I'm here for you."
Thanks so much, Professor Pritchard. It really means a lot. I'm nervous that this game of learning magic is so cutthroat. Everybody seems to be out for themselves, but at least there's you on our side.
And she walks up and puts her hand on your shoulder and says, "It's not a game, you know."
Right, and then the magic police show up and they catch you.
Caleb, it's going... No.
Very serious, I know, Professor Pritchard.
It's going to be all right.